Welcome to this week's edition of Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Jenny Jordan.
And I'm Kayla Evans. We have a lot in store for tonight's show. We will be reviewing Auburn's win over Ole Miss, Auburn volleyball, Auburn soccer, and so much more.
Auburn football returned to action on Saturday in Jordan-Hare Stadium with a matchup against Matt Corral and the number 10 Ole Miss Rebels. Here's Mary Lauren Burdishaw with the story.
Auburn football returned this weekend to play Ole Miss after a bye week. Number 18 Auburn defeated number 10 Ole Miss 31-20 at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Bo Nix had another good week as he completed 22 of 30 passes for 276 yards and a touchdown while rushing for 30 yards and a pair of TDs. In the first quarter, the Auburn Tigers drove 82 yards in 11 plays on their opening possession with Bo Nix rushing for an 11-yard touchdown. Nix was 3 for 3 on the drive for 33 yards while rushing for 18 yards, and the defense started out strong as Marcus Harris made a tackle on the Rebels' first play. Ole Miss kicked a 29-yard field goal on its first drive, but Auburn bounced back with a 10-play, 72-yard touchdown drive. Tank Bigsby made some moves as he began the drive with a 26-yard run, then went airborne on 3rd and goal from the 1 to put Auburn ahead 14-3 late in the first quarter. In the second quarter, Auburn responded to a Rebel drive swiftly, scoring on Nick's 7-yard touchdown run to make the score 21-10 with a little over 6 minutes left in the second quarter. While Ole Miss managed to make another touchdown, the Tigers responded swiftly yet again, managing to score one more time in the second half, driving 69 yards in 11 plays and scoring on Nick's 9-yard pass to Jarquez Hunter. The Tigers were 28-17 going into the third quarter. Defense was strong in the third quarter for the Auburn Tigers as they held Ole Miss to a 49-yard field goal, forcing 2 3-and-outs. McClain took the lead with 14 tackles and 2 sacks. Jalen Simpson's end-zone interception in the fourth quarter preserved Auburn's 2-score lead, and kicker Anders Carlson's 28-yard field goal gave Auburn a 31-20 lead with nearly 11 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Auburn is on the road to Texas A&M next week with a kickoff time still to be determined.
With the win, Auburn moves to 6-2 on the season and 3-1 in SEC play.
Auburn's offense got off to yet another quick start and scored on the opening possession of the game with an 11-yard scamper from quarterback Bo Nix. The Tigers put up 28 points in the first half of the game. In the second half, Auburn struggled to put up points up, but the Auburn defense was doing its job. The Auburn defense stiffened in the third and fourth quarters, making big stop after big stop, including 3 crucial fourth downs in the red zone, forcing the Rebels to waste away scoring opportunities.
Quarterback Bo Nix had yet another good week. Nix threw for 272 yards and 1 touchdown. On the ground, he rushed for 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. The ground game is where the Auburn offense shined. Sophomore Tank Bigsby rushed for 140 yards and 1 touchdown. This is the first time since the Penn State game on September 18th that Bigsby rushed for more than 100 yards in a game. As a team, the Tigers rushed for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Not to be outdone by the offense in the first half, the Auburn defense showed out in the second half, holding the Rebels to 3 points. Linebacker Owen Pappoe returned to the field for the first time since September 18th following the injury he sustained in the Penn State game. Pappoe, in his return, totaled 5 tackles and 1 for a loss. Senior defensive back Roger McCreary spoke to Pappoe's return, saying he was the missing piece in the defense. I feel like he was the reason the defense was successful today.
Owen Pappoe's partner in the middle of the Auburn defense also had a big game. Senior Zacoby McClain turned in one of his best performances. The linebacker totaled 14 tackles, 10 of which were solo efforts. McClain also picked up 2 sacks en route to the 31-20 win. For his efforts, the SEC League office announced on Monday that he was the SEC Co-Defensive Player of the Week, along with Georgia's Nolan Smith. McClain was also named the Defensive Player of the Week by Reese's Senior Bowl and Player of the Week by the Lott Impact Trophy.
Defensive end Colby Wooden was honored by the SEC League office on Monday. Wooden was named Defensive Lineman of the Week. This is the second consecutive game that he has earned this honor.
After the game, this is what head coach Brian Harsin had to say.
That's a great win. Got a chance to celebrate with our guys in there and just kind of enjoy the moment. So really proud of our players, proud of our staff, and it was a great atmosphere tonight, electric out there. So we definitely fed off of that, and we got a chance to play against a really good football team, and we won the game, and we had some things in there that didn't go perfectly for us. We responded properly and came back and made the plays we needed to, and defense stepped up in the red zone on some fourth downs. Offense, did what we had to do and made plays. Started out really fast, and special teams were good. Good when we need them to be in certain areas. So But overall, I'm very proud of this team and coming off a bye week and the work that we did, and and really more of the mentality in this game. I didn't see anybody on the sideline flinch. Everybody had the right just response in some critical moments to what for what we needed to win the game. So overall, really good. Proud of our guys. We'll enjoy this tonight. We'll get back to work tomorrow. And I think it goes back to being prepared for it. Number one, I know Coach Mason, the defensive staff, does a great job of preparing themselves with their game planning, getting that to the players, making sure that we hit those things throughout the week, and then come game time, being able to make adjustments too, because you never know exactly what the offenses are going to do. And so you got to adjust in how they're going to attack you, like who they're going to attack. And Ole Miss is like that. They're going to find somebody. And so we had to kind of figure out who that was, make a few adjustments, and then they stepped up. And, the last two games have been good. Yeah, I think he's playing consistent. So there's some good things from that standpoint. And consistency is the key at the quarterback position, and he's doing that. He's tough. He's making good decisions, throwing the ball well. I think his fundamentals, continue to improve, and then he's a weapon with his legs, and I think he's utilizing that the right way. So there's a good balance. He's just getting better. He's getting better. That's a credit to him, Coach Bobo, and what they're doing at that position, and it's showing up.
On Tuesday, the College Football Playoff Committee released their first rankings of the season. The top four in the first release were Georgia, Alabama, Michigan State, and Oregon. Auburn was ranked at number 13, with this week's opponent, Texas A&M, coming in one spot behind the Tigers at 14.
The biggest surprise of the first release was the undefeated Cincinnati Bearcats coming in at number 6 behind two one-loss teams in Oregon and Ohio State. The biggest surprise of the first release was the undefeated Cincinnati Bearcats coming in at number 6 behind two one-loss teams in Oregon and Ohio State. The two other surprises were the placement of the undefeated Oklahoma Sooners at number 8 and undefeated UTSA being unranked. Next for Auburn is a road trip to number 14 Texas A&M in College Station, Texas. Here's what Brian Harsin had to say about the upcoming matchup.
Yeah, I just watched the film. I mean, really, just pop on the film and watch Texas A&M. If that doesn't have their attention, we're going to get beat. Simple as that. They're a good football team, and we're working every day to get, like you said, yeah, it's an everyday thing. It is a process through the season where everything that we do, Sunday is important for this reason, and Sunday leads into Monday, and Monday leads into Tuesday. Like, they all kind of lead into each other, and if you don't maximize the opportunities that we have to prepare and get better at certain things throughout the week, it's going to show up in the game. And it showed up in the Ole Miss game too. If you skip a step here and there, some things show up. They always do. Football will humble you. That's the one thing that I think we all need to know is football will humble you, and you need to prepare every single week. You have a new opponent. We do some things the same way week in and week out, but it's kind of that routine versus commitment a little bit. We're going to do it. It's just, is it just routine, or are we going to be committed to doing it and trying to get better at it? And that's really the challenge. I don't think that's a football thing. I think that's kind of just in life every day, right? You wake up, you have a purpose, you want to get better at something, you work at it, and at the end of the day, you feel like you've accomplished something, and you feel fulfilled, like you got some things done. So that's what we're trying to do each and every day, is just, make those little strides. And our opponent is different. This opponent is very good, just like our last opponents. And there's a lot that we have to prepare for to make sure that we can go out there and play our best football this season. And if we don't do that during the week, it's not going to magically just happen on Saturday.
Kickoff is set for 2:30 Central Time and will air on CBS.
When we return, we will talk about Auburn volleyball, Auburn soccer, and some other sports happening around Auburn. You are watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Auburn volleyball falls to 12-9 overall and 4-1 in the conference after a loss to the LSU Tigers this past Friday night. The Tigers could not get anything going and ultimately fell to the LSU in straight sets. Here's Eagle Eye's Andrew Visa with the highlights from the match.
The Auburn Tigers hosted the LSU Tigers in the Auburn Arena for an SEC matchup. The Tigers came back to the Auburn Arena after splitting the series with Georgia respectively. This game is crucial in the SEC as both teams are fighting to climb up the standings. The Tigers started off the game trailing 9-4 as LSU was able to take an early lead. But Auburn, with a couple of kills and blocks, closed the gap and the score was now 11-9 in favor of LSU. After immediate timeout, LSU was able to pull away and win the set 25-16. In the second set, things were much closer with the game being tied 7-7. After LSU made crucial attacking errors, Auburn was able to take a 13-9 lead. LSU was able to clean mistakes up and were now only 1 point behind. The score was 15-14 heading into the break. In this set, Tatum Shipes was able to break the Auburn record for most blocks in a single season, reaching the 120 mark. This allowed Auburn to take a 20-18 advantage, but crucial errors by the Tigers were able to skew this game closer. LSU was able to catch momentum and come away with the win, 25-23. Auburn would start the third set poorly, leading to LSU taking a 6-1 lead. Shipes and Green were able to help Auburn decrease their deficit by only 2 points. Unfortunately, a strong run by LSU, including 3 service aces, allowed LSU to increase their lead by 11. Auburn was able to make one final push with help from Raf and Yavuz as they were able to get critical kills that allowed the Tigers to be behind by 5. This momentum couldn't hold as LSU surged away to win the final set 25-17. The Tigers will now travel to College Station, Texas to play the Texas A&M Aggies in a 2-game series. This is Andrew Meza reporting for Eagle Eye TV.
Although the loss, senior Tatum Shipes broke the single-season Auburn record for blocks. In her season debut as the middle blocker, Shipes broke the previous record of 119 blocks in a single season set by Kamila Jerzonski in 2012. Shipes sits at second in single-season history in solo blocks with 19 and block assists with 101.
Auburn basketball put on a show in their first ever orange-blue scrimmage inside Auburn Arena on Friday night. Devin Cambridge and Chandler Leopard got the crowd going after going head-to-head in a dunk competition that Leopard would go on to win following an in-between-the-legs dunk. Following the dunk contest, head coach Bruce Pearl split the players into 2 teams for a 20-minute scrimmage.
Team Blue, featuring mostly bench and role players, jumped out to an early lead, but Team Orange, consisting of mostly starters, fought back and outscored Team Blue by nearly 10 points. Following the scrimmage, the basketball team then practiced some game-like scenarios with one team having a lead and the other trying to fight back with only a certain amount of time on the clock. The Tigers are back on the hardwood inside Auburn Arena for the exhibition game against Southern Indiana Friday night at 7 o'clock.
Auburn women's basketball returns to action tomorrow night for an exhibition game against Miles College. This will be the first chance to see the Tigers in action under new head coach Johnny Harris. The game is set to tip off at 7 p.m. and admission is free. Auburn will be without all SEC freshman Romy Levy after it was announced she tore her ACL. Harris will need to figure out how to replace one of the more experienced players in her squad. Auburn's regular season is set to start on November 11th when they host Georgia State.
Number 1 ranked Equestrian wrapped up their fall home schedule with an 11-8 win over number 9 ranked South Carolina Gamecocks. With the win, the Tigers took home 3 out of the 4 most outstanding performer honors. Junior Olivia Tordoff earned her 3rd straight in horsemanship. Ava Stearns won her 3rd MOP of the season in fences, and Kate Buchanan rounded out the MOP honors by securing her 1st of the season in reining.
The Tigers have 2 more matches to round out the fall season, both coming this week on Thursday and Friday. The Tigers will first travel to College Station to take on the Texas A&M Aggies at 11 a.m. on Thursday. Then on Friday, the Tigers will travel to Waco, Texas to face the 2-1 Baylor Bears at 11 a.m.
Auburn soccer defeated South Carolina in the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament on Tuesday in Orange Beach, Alabama. Auburn came out of the gate shaky once again to start the game, but 2 great saves from keeper Maddie Prohaska settled the Tigers at the back. Auburn gained momentum steadily throughout the first half and in the 41st minute. Auburn broke the deadlock. Senior defender M.E. Craven put the ball in the back of the net off an Anna Haddock free kick. That is Craven's 3rd goal of the season.
Auburn continued the momentum gained in the first half with a barrage of shots to start the second half. It wasn't until the 64th minute that Auburn added to the lead with a goal from junior Sydney Richards. The 2-goal cushion was just enough as Auburn defeated South Carolina for the first time since 2012 with a score of 2-1. The Tigers now move on to the semifinals with a matchup against top-seeded Arkansas on Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time. The match will be aired on SEC Network. When we come back, we will take a look at how some Auburn alumni performed this past week in the NFL. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn. We will be right back.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Former top 10 pick Derek Brown had yet another good week in the NFL. Brown totaled 3 tackles, a QB hit, and a pass breakup in the Panthers' 19-13 win over the Atlanta Falcons.
Defensive back Jamel Dean had another good performance for the reigning Super Bowl champs. Dean recorded 4 tackles in the Bucs' 36-27 loss to the Saints. Coming into the matchup, Dean had allowed only 11 completions and held opposing QBs to a combined passer rating of 21.7. That's all for Sports Night in Auburn, but for more Auburn sports, head to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, where we'll have everything you need to know to stay up to date on Auburn sports. I'm Jenny Jordan.
And I'm Kayla Evans. For even more sports, follow our Twitter at EETV_sports and follow our Instagram at EagleEyeTV. Good night and War Eagle.